Friends, we have a critical warning for you here. Major updates coming out of Asia. We got the Taliban mobilizing large infantry units, and also there is heavy fighting already reported across the Pakistani-Afghan border. This is a major issue, of course, because the Pakistanis have nuclear weapons. That, and we also have President Trump heading to the Middle East as this video is coming out, basically. We got a lot to talk about, that and a few other things that we need to talk about. Markets are already reacting to President Trump's tweet that just came out, and that's going to send markets shooting higher, reversing what happened on Friday. Lots to talk about, like I said. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And here on this channel, we try to keep you guys ahead of the curve about what is happening. Futures markets have not opened yet, but crypto and poly market are already indicating that we're about to get a major case of whiplash when it comes to the markets. Looks like markets going to reverse most of, if not all, of the losses on Friday. So if you're in the markets, be aware of that. We also need to talk about some chickens. Yes. The bird flu cullings are back, and it seems to be only affecting blue state chickens. So read into that what you will. All right, let's get into it. First off, President Trump is on his way to Tel Aviv, Israel, of course. He's going to meet with the hostages in the out in front of Knesset, which is the Israeli government offices. They're going to have some kind of ceremony there. The remaining hostages are being released. That is going to be a big deal there. And then he's going to travel on. He's going to do some other stuff there in Israel, and then he's going to travel on to Egypt for the signing of the accords with the Gazans. Now, I'm not sure exactly who's going to be signing on that side. Is it going to be Hamas? Is it going to be some other representatives from Gaza or something else along those lines? We'll see as that unfolds, but President Trump is going over for this historic signing. How many people have gotten peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis? Anybody? That's been the most elusive peace deal that we have been looking for. And for those of you who know your Bibles, that also raises some questions, because we see the initiation of the tribulation period, if you read it that way, Revelation, essentially gets triggered by a 7-year peace deal with Israel. So the beast, or the Antichrist, basically signs a peace treaty with Israel. Now, could this be that? Well, we're not seeing any indications of a 7-year deal and anything, but it does have some people a little bit on edge. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. I don't think most of you think that President Trump is the Antichrist, but there are other parties at play here, right? We got Benjamin Netanyahu there and such, and some other players that have been involved in the negotiations. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about that one. Anyway, moving over to this fighting between, I know at first you're kind of like the Taliban and the Pakistanis going at each other. Fine by me. Fine by me. And I think a lot of us would be kind of that way, is you know, we don't really particularly like either side. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't like people, but you know, or nations. But the Pakistanis, they harbored Osama bin Laden. There's that, and it's kind of an Islamic oppressive regime. So there's that, and anyway, but the Taliban, armed, of course, by the United States Army and the United States Marine Corps, started fighting heavily with the Pakistanis along the border. And by intense fighting, I mean artillery and direct infantry engagements. The Pakistanis are coming up with different numbers than the Taliban. Let's just put it tactfully. The Pakistanis say that they lost 23 soldiers and have taken out about 200 Taliban. Now, the Taliban, on the other hand, have shown video footage of around 24 or more Pakistani soldiers that have been taken prisoner. So Pakistan has lost more than 23, so we know that they're not telling the truth there. And the Taliban is claiming that they took out 58 Pakistani soldiers plus the ones that they captured. And it gets worse. It actually, that sounds bad. But remember, the Taliban, for the most part, fought the U.S. to a standstill in a lot of cases. What chance do the Pakistanis really have, honestly? But the Taliban conducted an airstrike in Lahore. Now, if you know your maps, there's the Pakistani-Afghan border, and on the opposite side, there's the Indian border. Well, Lahore is all the way across the country against the Indian border. And the Taliban flew all the way across in a prop aircraft and did an airstrike on Lahore, which doesn't bode well for, I don't know, maybe the Pakistani air defense systems are all aimed at India, which makes sense because the Taliban aren't really known for having an air force. But they had a few planes, and they took one of those planes and took it all the way across Pakistan to do an airstrike on a city on the other side of the country. Anyway, this is from a Taliban commander in a black t-shirt with Arabic jihadi stuff on it. A black t-shirt though, mind you. We fought you, speaking of Pakistan, with only 10% of our strength. And you fled your posts. If you dare violate Afghan territory again, we will use 100% of our strength against you. Now, reports and videos are coming out of large columns of American vehicles loaded up with Taliban headed towards the Pakistani border. We'll see if the Taliban are kind of like, okay, you hit us, we're hitting you back. Apart from the Taliban saying that the Pakistanis, violated Afghan territory, of course, what do they mean by that? Is it disputed territory? What exactly does that mean? But we do know that apparently the Taliban initiated the conflict, initiated the firefight. They started shooting at the Pakistanis first, is what appears to be the case. But now it's Pakistanis using artillery on the Taliban and direct infantry fighting back and forth. When you don't have nuclear weapons and you don't have any alliance with people with nuclear weapons, do you really want to win against a country that has nuclear weapons? Because I have a hard time seeing much happening if Pakistan uses nuclear weapons on Afghanistan. Russia's probably not going to care. China is not going to care. India is going to be, India's not going to be super happy about that, actually. No, they don't like Pakistan. Whatever Pakistan does, India doesn't like. But UK, France, they're going to be kind of like, you shouldn't have done that. The United States is going to be like that too. So, no one's going to hit Pakistan with nuclear weapons. Now, they might get hit with some sanctions, but that's about it. So what's really stopping Pakistan from testing some nuclear weapons in Afghanistan? Not a whole lot. So the Taliban might want to be careful about what they wish for. But the Taliban are mustering all their forces against the Pakistani border, and we're going to see what happens next. But I'd say that if there's going to be another nuclear weapon detonated that border region, it could be it. That could happen there. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Hopefully cooler heads prevail, and hopefully President Trump can get on a plane and go help the Taliban negotiate with the Pakistanis and talk the Pakistanis down from beating Afghanistan to a pulp. All right, moving on. Like I said, eggs. Eggs are back in the crosshairs, friends. Egg prices are down right now. If I were you, I would look at stocking up. Why? Let me just read these headlines for you. I've been keeping an eye on the APHIS system, APHIS reporting, which is the agricultural something reporting something. Anyway, basically the avian flu, bird flu, cullings are logged into the systems and reported on the government website. In the past 2.5 weeks, listen to this, 3 million egg layers culled in Wisconsin. Another 500,000 egg layers culled in Wisconsin. 2 million egg layers culled in Washington State. Now, we had a bunch of months of no cullings. The last cullings before that were of any significant account. There were some turkey cullings, but basically May. We haven't seen major cullings since spring. But 5.5 million in the last 2.5 weeks makes it a very bad month. That is basically like the height of the cullings that we saw before. So I'm going to say this. If that's it and we're done for now, it shouldn't impact egg availability too much. But, and this is a big but, if this continues at all, we're going to start seeing egg prices impacted, and egg availability is going to start getting impacted. 5.5 million egg layers culled in the last 2.5 weeks. If we see any more of these incidents happen in the next few weeks, I would strongly urge you to start stacking the eggs to the rafters again, because is this just the blue states trying to cause an egg crisis? That's possible. That's possible. What I do know is that that's a pretty big number. At the peak, we were seeing like 5 to 6 million per month culled. And so in 2.5 weeks, seeing that same number as peak is going to devastate and damage the egg production in the United States. So you might want to start cautiously putting some away. Freezing is a great option right there. Crack them open. You can freeze them in, get like one of the silicone muffin trays. Those work great. Put the eggs in there and then stick them in. You can scramble the eggs and put them in, or you can just drop them in. I've fried them up from both, from scrambled, and I fried them up from not scrambling them, and they seem to be fine. They tasted just fine. I like my eggs over hard. If you like them over easy, maybe that would impact that a little bit. But yeah, put some eggs away. Remember, store-bought eggs cannot be water glassed unless you coat them with oil first, mineral oil, and even that doesn't really do it just right. So think about either freezing, dehydrating, or getting store-stable eggs. Prices on those eggs have come down. Check out the pinned comment down below for some egg options. I'll put those silicone muffin trays on there. Just make sure that if you're using it for raw eggs and freezing it, make sure you wash it really, really well. And you might not want to use it again for other things until you've baked it or heated it up to kill all the potential salmonella on there. And remember, if you freeze the eggs raw, they're still raw. Okay, so wash your hands and be careful with them as you handle the eggs. You can also cook up the eggs and then freeze them. That's also possible. You can scramble eggs and then, in the pan, and then you can freeze them. Of course, that's not very good for baking. So if you freeze them, you can just thaw them and then just use them as eggs in your baking and stuff like that. So right now prices are pretty fairly low on eggs, so stack them to the rafters. Well, at least buy some cautiously start buying them in case the price starts going up. And then if we see more cullings, which we will inform you of on this channel, then we'll give you a stack it to the rafters alert, okay? I'm keeping an eye on that one again. I was keeping one eye on it, and this was a surprising... I just glanced at it, I was like, whoa, those are big numbers. Those are big numbers. And that's catching a lot of people off guard. I haven't heard about anyone else talking about them just yet, but that's why I check those sources, right? Because somebody should be watching them. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. We'll keep an eye on what's going on in the Pakistani-Afghan border. We'll keep an eye on the egg situation, and we'll keep an eye on this peace deal for Israel and Egypt, and we'll keep an eye out for any other indications that this might be problematic. You know, you just can't help but think of some other things like President Trump's getting shot in the head. Now, the Antichrist gets shot with a mortal wound, and that doesn't happen into the tribulation. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about that one. Right now, I think it's more of a curiosity that we have a peace deal with Israel. It doesn't seem to be the peace deal that is spoken of in the Bible prophecies. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it, but let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. If you want to check out some of those egg put-away tips and dehydrators, and I'll put a bunch of stuff there, give you options on how to get ahead of the egg crisis that could be coming our way. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.